Things are getting worse and worse every day. Do you have what you need to survive? Hey guys, it's Jara with Wicked Prepared. I'm going to take a little bit of time to sit outside with you guys today because it is absolutely gorgeous out. We're having a stretch of 60 and 70 degree days, and I tell you what, for Maine in November, that is not typical, but I'll take it. Especially after what it just cost us to fill our oil tank. Any day that I don't have to run my furnace, I consider a blessing. Today I've got a Prepper Pantry haul for you. We continue to prepare in these very troubling times. It's a lifestyle, guys. Preparedness should be a lifestyle, not a reaction out of fear, but something that you do every day, every week, without hardly a thought. So in the best of times, you're prepared, and when it all goes south, in the worst of times, you're prepared. There's a lot going on out there, so it's very understandable that you're stepping it up a bit or feeling a need to get started if you haven't already. We are living in a very different world than we were 3 years ago. Lots going on to be concerned about. Diesel shortage. Everyone's talking about the diesel shortage. That's really been an issue for a while, but it keeps getting steadily worse, and there's even been talk of our country running out of diesel fuel. On-hand supply today is 15% less than a year ago, but over 30% less than 2 years ago, and at the lowest levels in a very long time, like decades. It's definitely worrisome. Literally everything we use or consume depends on diesel in some way. Worst case scenario would be running out, but that's unlikely to happen. This really is a self-regulating situation. As demand outpaces supply, the prices will be forced higher, which should reduce the demand. But this will definitely affect the prices of goods, if you can even imagine prices going any higher. In our little corner of the world, gas prices have been shooting right up there in the last week or two. Let me know down in the comments, what are you seeing for gas prices in your area? Do you have a good supply of food, water, and gear in case you're unable to get them or unable to afford them? We've got an amoxicillin shortage currently as well. It's scary to think that life-saving medications could be unavailable when we need them. Do you have your emergency antibiotic supply? We're also seeing things blowing up around the world on so many fronts as we careen closer and closer to a third world war that some would even say has already begun. Do you have your preps in place for a possible nuclear event or an EMP attack? Let me ask you this. There's two alternatives. Which situation would you rather find yourself in? You're prepared for something that doesn't happen? Because no single one of us knows the future. Not you, not me. And the alternative is not being prepared when something does happen. Ponder those two possibilities for a minute and tell me, which situation would you rather be in? I can tell you which one I'd rather be in. And so we continue to prep. And with that said, let's see what we've added to our preps. All right, so this is everything that we've added to our preps this week. All right, so these are just a couple of little lights that I got from Amazon. It came as a set of 2, and I actually really like these. You can see this is very small. It can fit right in the palm of my hands. They came with batteries included, and it is a flashlight, but if you unscrew this part right here, just a little bit, and pull it up, it turns into a little lantern, which I think is awesome. And these are actually surprisingly bright considering the fact that they're so small and that they came with, no-name batteries included with them. So I was really kind of impressed with these, and at least one of these is going to be going into my vehicle. And then right here I did get a couple of lanterns. Now these are oil lanterns. They would use lamp oil. I tend to not like to use anything with a flame. I tend to like to use more battery operated things. I just don't like adding that extra fire risk. If you're already, in an emergency situation, you don't want to add the risk of a fire. But I do have, these were a really good price. First of all, they were right around $7.50 a piece. And I do have a little bit of nostalgia for lamps like this because I grew up in a home with no electricity and we used a lot of kerosene lamps. So I couldn't resist grabbing a few more of these to have on hand for that price. And then this right here is just a big scoop. I wanted to have a big scoop for some of my bulk ingredients that I store in big bins, but then I use a smaller bin in my kitchen, for what I'm using right now. Things like rice and sugar and things like that. To be able to transfer a large amount into my kitchen bin. Like, for example, these bins right here that I use in the kitchen, but I have a much larger container of these items elsewhere. So when I need to fill these, I don't want to, these are about the size of a shoebox, so I don't want to be filling them with a small scoop. So if I like how this works, I'll probably get a few more so I can just leave them right in the container, but I'm going to try this one out first. And then these next things right here, I've got some batteries and some duct tape. Of course, you can never have enough duct tape. I got this big roll to add to our supplies. This is just a single roll, but I did see a really good deal on a double pack on Amazon. So if that is still on sale by the time this video comes out, I will link that for you guys. Definitely check the video description down below if you want to see links to where I got any of these items. If you don't know how to find the video description, you just click the title of the video and it should drop down below it. I know we've had some people who don't realize where to find that. Now, here I have some different kinds of batteries. These are AAA batteries. This is AC Delco. I was getting my batteries at Walmart. I was getting the Great Value brand. They've stopped carrying some of the sizes of that. And so I started looking at Amazon, and I actually found better deals on batteries at Amazon. These are AAAs. This AC Delco, I've heard of this brand. I don't know how good it is as far as these batteries, but we'll try it out and see. And then this is just the Amazon Basics brand. I've been buying a lot more of their brand of things. And these are D batteries. So this is a big pack of 24 D batteries. And this was a really good deal. I like to store lots and lots and lots of batteries. You know that I prefer battery operated things rather than rechargeable things because I just know that I can have plenty of batteries on hand, whereas I'm not always confident in our ability to charge things and keep things charged. If you've been watching lately, you know that we have added a couple of solar generators to our prep, so I'm starting to feel a little bit better about the ability to recharge things, but I'd still rather not depend on that. I'd rather have things that take regular batteries, and regardless, everyone needs to have lots of batteries stored because everyone has something that uses batteries. And this is just one more different type of batteries that some of the things in our house use. It's called 23A or A23. They look like this. So I did get one pack of these. This was the most economical way to buy these on Amazon, and this will last us for a really long time because we don't use a lot of this type of battery. So the next thing that I got was this pack of individually wrapped gloves. You know I really like to have individually packaged and individually wrapped items for certain things, for certain kits that I put together and to stash in certain places. Sometimes it's going to be important to have gloves. These would be great in a first aid kit, things like that. So that's where these are going to go. And they are individually packaged, but they're supposed to be eco-friendly. And I don't imagine I will use too many of these, so this is going to last me a very long time. So next I've got these that I'm very excited about. These are a couple different types of Mylar bags. Now these right here are from Wallaby. You know that we love the Wallaby brand of Mylar bags. They have really good quality bags. We know that the quality is good, and they usually come with the appropriate size oxygen absorbers right included with them. These are MRE pouches, which I'm very excited about. So these are the perfect size to make your very own MREs or backpacking meals in. They have a gusseted bottom so they can stand up. They have a zip top, which you're not going to want to use to seal them for long term. You would seal above that, then you can tear the top off and you still have the zip to close it after you put your boiling water in. So I'm very excited to make some of my own backpacking meals out of my own ingredients, my own recipes. I can use some of my meal in a jar recipes and scale those down. And I'm going to come up with some new recipes. So I'm really excited about this. I've had my eye on these for a while and they went on sale, so I grabbed a pack. And then these right here are just different sizes of, they're small Mylar bags and they have a clear window. So these aren't going to be like something you would use for very long-term storage, but what I wanted these for mostly was when I make my meals in a bag, sometimes I might want to include some seasonings or something like that I'm measuring out of a larger container. So I just wanted to have some small packages to put small ingredients like that into to include in my meals in a bag. I just did a meal in a bag. That's a cheesy wild rice and chicken soup. And I did put some freeze-dried chives into that one. And I did use a small baby food jar. So if you have something like that, that would work too. But I don't have many of those, so I wanted to grab these. Now this right here, I'm very excited about. This is a Battery Daddy Ultra. This is basically for storing batteries. Now we have a lot of batteries stored down cellar. And that's one thing I do like about the way I've been buying batteries like this is that they're in these nice boxes that stack really nicely if you're storing large amounts of them. But we do like to have a box of batteries upstairs just ready for us to go grab out of whenever we need a battery. We don't want to have to run down to our storage in the cellar every time we need batteries. So what I've been using for many, many years is just a little craft box. And it does have some dividers in it so I can divide the AA, the AAA, the C's and the D's. But other than that, they're just rolling around loose in there, and that's really not good for the batteries. So I wanted to get this that stores them all in individual slots so that they're not touching one another. They're going to store very nicely in this. I'm going to fill this up, and who knows, I might even get a second one of these. I also like that this comes with a battery tester included, which is awesome. I just noticed that it looks like that it has a spot for the button cell batteries, which was important to me, but it looks like they're just kind of tossed in this little bin willy-nilly. So that might not end up being the best solution for those, or I may end up sliding them into small paper envelopes or something. But I'll have to check this out and see how it is when I open it up. Now this I'm going to put over here and talk about in a minute. Now next I have some of my things from Azure Standard, from my last Azure Standard drop. This Redmond Real Salt is really, really good pure salt. I did get some of this last time, but I just realized that they have kind of a clearance section on the Azure Standard website. I had never noticed that before, and one of the things that I saw there was this package of real salt that was damaged somehow. It had a cut in it, and it was taped, so it said it was cut and taped. So I thought I would take my chances because it was discounted. So I thought I'd take my chances and order it and see what the deal was with their discount section. So I was pretty happy with this because it was a pretty decent discount. And this is a 16-ounce package, and I put this on my kitchen scale when I got it, and it weighs more than a pound. So I'm sure some of that extra weight is the packaging, but I can't imagine that it really lost any of the product or very much of the product out of this package. And I got a discount on it, and I really do trust Azure Standard. I trust that company, so I do trust buying this open package from them. I trust that they wouldn't sell it if it wasn't safe. So go to Azure Standard website and check out their clearance section. If you're not familiar with them, I will put a link to their website down in the description box, and then go ahead and set up a customer account and see if they have drops in your area. Another thing I got from Azure Standard is this miso. I have not had miso really since I moved away from California. My aunt used to make us miso broth if we were sick. She would make us a miso broth with garlic and red pepper flakes and nutritional yeast and things like that when we were sick. And I really am having a lot of nostalgia for that. And I really, really like the idea of food as medicine. I'm really looking into a lot more of those types of remedies that, I had when I was a kid. And so I wanted to try some miso, and we don't have a great selection of miso around here in our small town. It's hard to find. So I was really excited to find that I could order some from Azure Standard. They had lots of different types. I just chose this one to try first because it looked the most like what I remembered when I was younger. Now, miso is a fermented food, so it's full of all kinds of probiotics and really good stuff. So if you're going to use it in a broth, you're going to want to be careful with how hot you heat it so you don't kill off the probiotics. I think it's 125 degrees when it starts to kill off the probiotics, but I can't remember, so don't quote me on that. But miso is a really great healthy option to have. So the next thing I got from Azure Standard are these canning jar lids, and I'm super excited about these. Now, I know a lot of people in the canning world have been having issues with their ball lids. Now, personally, I have not had any issues with my ball lids yet, but because people are having issues with them, and because I actually looked at the price of them recently, that they've gone up in price at my Wal-Mart. So when I realized how much I was paying for those lids, I decided that I was going to look around and see if I could find some cheaper options. And both of these options, because you can buy these in bulk, this is a big stack, they're both cheaper than what my Wal-Mart was selling the ball lids for. And I have asked around and gotten some reviews. I have found people love both of these brands of lids. These are 4 jars, and these are Superb. I found great reviews from everybody who's tried these lids. The Superb are actually made in the United States. I think it's Ohio. And people really, really love this brand. So if you're looking for some canning jar lids, give these a try. I'll put a link to these lids on Azure Standard down in the description box, but I also have another link for the Superb if you need to get them right away and you can't wait for, a certain drop date. I'll put that down there too. And I'll definitely be letting you guys know after I've tried these out how I like them, but I'm really expecting to be very pleased with them because everyone I've spoken to has been very pleased with them. Definitely let me know down in the comments if you've used these types of lids and what you think of them. Next up, we've got some seeds. Now, you know that we've been building up our home seed vault. We do keep a garden every year, so we do save seeds, and we always have some seeds left over, but we've also been actively purchasing seeds to have stored for next year and beyond, just in case we were unable to get seeds for whatever reason. Last haul, I showed you a bunch of seeds that we got from Salty Acres and also some plants we got from them that were overwintering inside. Now, this is a little bit different idea. This is really perfect for someone who doesn't already garden and isn't very familiar with gardening and seeds, because these are seed vaults where it's everything all together in one package put together for you. It's all from this company, Survival Garden Seeds, and they are heirloom, they're open pollinated. They do have a guarantee on them. They have several different options. Anything from the Home Garden, which is this one right here, has 30 different varieties. And then the Homesteader has 50 different varieties. And then the big bucket, the Farmer's Seed Vault, is 100 different types of seeds in this bucket. So they start with vegetable seeds, and then as you get into some of the bigger packages, they have some herbs and medicinals, and then they also have some flower seeds in some of the really big packages, because you're also going to need to have pollinators if you're going to have any success with your garden. Now these are put together with the purpose of storing them, so they're put together in packaging that's meant for storage. I don't intend to store these for a very long term. I feel like that's not a great idea, but if you don't garden already and you're not planning on getting started, definitely start with something like a seed collection like this at least. This could be a total lifesaver if something happens. But we are planning to try out these seeds and rotate through and get a new collection, every year or so to make sure that our seeds are always fresh. And then next I've got a couple packages of... Now this is freeze-dried pumpkin powder. These are both from the same brand. Now the only thing, these are actually meant for dogs. They're meant for pets, but they're human-grade pumpkin. They just freeze-dry Libby's pumpkin right out of the can. So even though it's meant for pets, it's fine for humans as well. And so I got it for my purposes. I really wanted to try putting together a pumpkin cranberry muffin mix in a jar, kind of like how I did my applesauce muffins and my cornbread. Just add water, mix in a jar. And I was planning on powdering up some of my freeze-dried butternut squash to use in place of pumpkin because I don't have any freeze-dried pumpkin. And then it occurred to me that maybe they had pumpkin or pumpkin powder on Amazon. And I did find this and other brands, and they're sold for dogs. But so I'm going to try this and see if I can use this in my muffin recipe. And stay tuned. I'll let you know how it works. And then I did get a couple packs of these Velveeta Fresh packs. Now someone had mentioned these to me before because I was looking for smaller packs of Velveeta for some of my meals in a bag, where you have all the ingredients that you need for an emergency meal, including the water, everything included in one bag. And I was really resisting buying these because even though they're very handy, they're 5 packs, which are 4 ounces a piece inside each of these packages. They're super expensive, honestly, compared to like store brand, Velveeta type of cheese. But I needed 8 ounces of Velveeta for one of my meals in a bag, and I could not find an 8-ounce package. They just don't make one. They have a 16-ounce package. So I finally broke down and bought a couple of these. Even though they're super expensive, I'll only be using them for purposes like that. And now this was something that I did get from Amazon. This is sesame oil packets. Inside it has individual packets of sesame oil. Now I also got these to use in some of my meals in a bag and meals in a jar because I love that I can make meals that go with our family's tastes and what we like. And we do like sesame oil, and I try to find dried or powdered versions of most ingredients so that I can just put them all in the jar or all in the bag. But I've never found any kind of substitute for sesame oil, and we have lots of recipes for Asian type of dishes that would really be better with sesame oil. So I figured if I got small packets, I could throw a packet in a meal in a bag or tuck it right in the jar with a meal in a jar. And then it would be shelf stable for quite a long time, and it would be easy to just open the packet and drizzle it in the finished dish or use it for the first saute or whatever the case may be. And I've been looking for something like this for quite a while, and I finally found it. And these were kind of spendy, but I'm going to use them sparingly, and it's hopefully going to be worth it. And by the same token, that's also why I grabbed these and then these behind here. These are ramens that have packets of sesame oil inside. I used to get ramen like this when I was in high school, and so I thought maybe something like that still existed. So I went on Amazon. I found a couple of options. This is the other one right here. Now these have a packet of sesame oil inside, so I figured I could also try using the sesame oil from these because it was probably, honestly, just about as cheap to buy a whole ramen with a sesame oil packet inside as it was to buy the whole box of sesame oil packets. So I figured this way I get some ramen as well. My kids actually love sesame oil in their ramen, so they will probably like these. And if they don't care for these, they often just make the ramen packages without the seasoning, and they just put their own oyster sauce and sesame oil in it. So I could always have them just use the noodles, and I could use the seasoning packets for other things. But I think they'll probably like these. And this one here actually also says it contains an egg block. So I'm not really sure what that is, but I'm thinking it's like a dried block of scrambled egg maybe. And I thought that that could also be an interesting thing to have to use for some of my meals in a jar or my meals in a bag. So I grabbed these. We're going to try these out, see how we like them. Hopefully they're good. these weren't too expensive, especially buying them in bulk like this. Oh, and then up here I did have, I got some more of these baskets. Now I use these baskets in my pantry. They're very long and narrow. We also use them to hold children's books, but I started using them in the pantry to hold things like these packets of potatoes, packets of rice, things like that, things that don't stand up very well on their own on the shelf. So I put them in baskets like these, and I needed some more of these baskets. So I did grab a set of these baskets, and I did grab some more of the instant mashed potatoes because we're getting low on these. Now, I sometimes make mashed potatoes from scratch. I will sometimes use the plain mashed potato flakes, but I don't really like to use those as much because they have nothing in them but potatoes, and so you have to add milk and butter and all that. So that's why I actually really like these packets. You only have to add water, and they have the butter flavor and the milk already in them. You have to watch out. These Wal-Mart brand have it, and like these Idahoan have the butter and the milk and everything, just add water. But some of the brands don't, even some of the name brands. Like I think it's Betty Crocker that you actually still have to add milk and butter. So for emergency situations, and if I'm in a big hurry with dinner, I want something where I just have to add water. So that's why I make sure to have plenty of these on hand, because these are pretty small actually. These, I would easily make 2 or 3 of these for one meal for my family, but it's actually cheaper, I think, to buy the no-name brand in the smaller packages than to buy the bigger pack, which it only comes in the name brand. So then I did grab some more Ruby. I like to have this on hand. I've been trying to be more conscious with my own health, so I've been drinking things. I've been doing things like having a cup of tea every day with some prebiotic and some collagen in it. I've been trying to drink more Ruby because these have, in each packet, they have 4 servings of fruits and vegetables. And literally in a packet like this, it's 4 servings of fruits and vegetables because they're made with freeze-dried fruits and vegetables. And when you freeze dry something and remove all the water from it, it leaves a lot of airspace in it. So when you powder that down, it turns into a very, very little amount compared to what it was when it was fresh. If you saw me make my raspberry dark chocolate cocoa bombs, I powdered up freeze-dried raspberries to do that, and you see how a larger amount of raspberries makes a very small amount of powder. And that's why I also like to have these for preparedness purposes, because you can fit a very large amount of nutrition into a very small package, and it's very shelf stable compared to fresh fruits and vegetables. So I do like to have these to tuck into bug out bags and get home bags and things like that, have in our emergency 72-hour food kits, anything like that, to be able to add some extra nutrition to food that may not otherwise be very nutritious. And then I did get a couple of these Bear Creek soup mixes. These are pretty inexpensive. They're around $3 at Walmart, and I've heard good things about them. I can't say that I've never tried them because I do feel like I remember having some of these in my pantry at some point in the past, but I don't remember trying them, but I've heard they're good. So we're going to try these. They could be handy to have on hand for an easy, just add water, quick meal in an emergency. They're very similar to like the idea with some of my meals in a jar. Just add water, cook it for a few minutes, and you've got a good hearty meal. So I figured I'd try a few different flavors of these. I think I could also use these as a basis for a more complicated meal, probably, in my meals in a bag. And then back here I've got just a bunch more brown sugar and powdered sugar. I like to keep a bunch of this on hand. It stays pretty good for quite a long time. The brown sugar, the worst that's going to happen to that is that it could get hard and kind of crusted into a block, but all you have to do is put a piece of bread in with it and it'll soften right up. But I figured with the holidays coming up, I'd probably be using quite a bit of this. And with the powdered sugar, actually, that reminds me that another thing I wanted to do with the Ruby was to try naturally coloring some frosting with it, because I'm really learning a lot about how much artificial colors can really affect some people and some kids. And so I'm trying to start looking for alternatives to that. And I know you can use powdered freeze-dried fruits and vegetables to, naturally color things like frosting, cupcakes, pancakes, things like that. So I was going to try some of this, and that was kind of what I was thinking when I got some more powdered sugar too, for making some frosting. And then I did get 4 of these bags of oyster crackers. Now, crackers are not a really long-term storage item because they actually do get stale and get rancid, shortly after their best by date. They're not like some things that can last forever past their best by date. These have a best by date that's about 6 months out. So for me, that's a medium-term storage item. And what I got these for is because I made that meal in a bag that I mentioned. That was the cheesy wild rice soup, and I put a bag of oyster crackers in with it, and I'm planning on making up a few more of those. So I got some more oyster crackers to throw in those. Plus, with just sick season, everyone's gonna be getting colds and being sick, I'm anticipating. So I like to have something like this that I can give sick kid just some crackers or some soup. And so I like to have things like this on hand for when people get sick. Now up here is just some more of the mashed potatoes. Now this was when I placed my order for the Great Value potatoes. I ordered a dozen. That's the most that they let you order at one time through Walmart is a dozen. I placed my order for a dozen and I didn't get a dozen. They didn't have 12 in stock. I can't remember how many I got, but it wasn't a dozen and I wanted more. So next time I placed a grocery order, I added another dozen of those to my order and they didn't have them. So they said they were going to substitute these. But if you've noticed, pay attention to Walmart. I would not have noticed this if I hadn't seen an article about it, that they're now supposed to be charging you. Used to be if you had a substitution, they didn't charge you extra for your substitution. If you had the store brand and they gave you the name brand, they charged you the price of the store brand. That's changed now, and it says that on their website. When you go to checkout, it tells you that you'll be charged the price of the item that you get. But I don't think I would have noticed if I had not seen an article about it. So I haven't been taking substitutions on many things because I like to be in control of the price of what I get. But in this case, I did not uncheck substitutions and they offered these as a substitution, but they didn't change the price. When I checked my order, they were offering them at the same price as the store brand. And I even asked the girl about it when she came out and brought my order, and she said, yeah, they're supposed to be charging the price of the actual item you're getting. And I showed her the app and it looked like I was getting, the same price as the store brand. So I said, you know what, these are cheap. It's not a huge difference. I'm going to let this go through so that I can test the theory and just see what happens. So I did let it go through, figuring it wouldn't be a huge deal if I paid, 20 cents extra or something for these bags of potatoes. But it did go through with the store brand price. So I don't know what's up with that. But just keep an eye on that and just know that they're supposed to be charging you the price of the item you get rather than the price of the item that you chose. If the item that you get substituted is more, they're supposed to charge you more. And then I did get, this was also from Amazon, a case of the Biscuit Complete Buttermilk Biscuit Mix. This case is 9, it's not 12. But I've been stocking up on the cheese garlic flavor of these through Amazon because they, for some reason, were a much better price than the plain, just the regular buttermilk. But I really like the buttermilk as well. So I'd been getting those at Dollar Tree or the regular grocery store. And finally the price dropped on these to where I was able to get these for less than $1.25 a pouch. So I grabbed a box of those. Now if I'm just making dinner and I have plenty of time, I do like to make biscuits from scratch sometimes. But sometimes if you're in an emergency, you're not going to want to have to use all those extra ingredients. So these are just add water. So having a just add water item for emergencies can be really handy. And I've also used these to make like dumplings and stuff in some of my meals in a bag. You just add a little bit extra water and you can use them like a dumpling. I'll link my chicken and dumplings meal in a bag down below if you want to see the directions and the exact measurements of how I made these into dumplings. But I grabbed a box of these from Amazon. Now these were a couple of Walmart items and these were Ibotta deals. This one right here was free on Ibotta. It's just a collagen sparkling tea, and I figured if it was free, I'd give it a try. I always say get anything you can get for free because that can either help you build your prepper pantry or it can help free up some money to use elsewhere in your prepper pantry. But this was pretty expensive if it wouldn't have been free, so I don't think this is going to be something I'm going to end up, purchasing regularly, but for free, I'll give it a try. Like I said, I have been trying to take more collagen lately for my skin. And then razors, you can never have enough razors. These type of personal care items we do try to keep stocked, and this was a good deal. This was about, I think it was $4.27 maybe regular price, and there was a $3 off on Ibotta. So it ended up taking off $3. I think I paid $1.27 or so for these. And there's always, always, always a deal like that on some type of razor on Ibotta. I don't think I've ever gone on Ibotta and not seen a good deal on razors. So I try to pick one up whenever I think of it, and we just add it to our stockpile. Sometimes I'll throw these in Christmas stockings and things like that. But I will have a link to Ibotta down in the description box. If you're not already using it, you definitely want to check it out because they have free items like this all the time. And then this was something that I just recently saw. I think it's brand new, never seen it before, and it seems like it would be really an interesting thing to have on hand for your emergency food storage because it's cereal, an individual serving of cereal in a cup, which I've seen before, but this one says just add water and stir to create milk. So it must have some sort of milk powder. It says cereal with milk powder inside of it. So anytime you can get a just add water item for your emergency food storage, that can be really handy. So I'm not sure how these are. We haven't tried them yet. They had several flavors. And I just grabbed, there was an Ibotta deal for $1 off each one of those, which made them about half price. And that's kind of spendy for one serving of cereal, but where it includes the milk, I just thought just to have on hand for emergencies or, You know, they could be great for college students, things like that. So I got a couple of these to try. So then of course I got my Thrive Life order for this month. We always try to order from what's on sale usually, and if there's something that we really like, we'll order extra when it's on sale. So this month they had it was really exciting because they actually had 2 different meats on sale, and that's the first time that's happened in a while. They've got the sausage crumbles, which we love these. We go through a lot of these. We make breakfast with these a lot, and also the egg powder down here. So I was really excited to finally see 2 different meats on sale. It's been a while with the way that the economy is and the way that prices of raw products are. They've been having to cut back a little bit. So having 2 proteins on sale, actually 3 proteins, because we've got the eggs on sale too this month. So that was really awesome. So this time I got the scrambled egg powder. We love the scrambled egg powder. We use this all the time, even though we have chickens and ducks, and it's great for camping. It's great for baking mixes so that you can just add water, don't have to add egg. I got some of the onion slices because those were on sale. Some of the corn. We love the corn. The sweetened cranberries. I'm excited about these because they used to have these and they've never had them since I have been buying Thrive Life. And I love cranberries and things at this time of year. So this is what I'm going to try to use with my pumpkin powder and try to make some just add water pumpkin cranberry muffins mix in a jar. And then, of course, the sausage, that goes without saying. I'm planning some meals in a jar that I'm going to make some breakfast meals in a jar with, sausage, eggs, potatoes, things like that. And you can also use these in Italian dishes or anything else that you would use sausage in. I also really like to snack on the sausage dry for a keto snack. It's one of my favorite things to grab and snack on. So I was excited to see these on sale. I'm debating whether I should order a case. I would like to order a case, so we'll see. There's a couple other things on sale. They also had the chopped spinach on sale, but I did recently buy a case of that when it was on sale, the last time it was on sale, so I figured I didn't need to grab any more of that right now, but we really like the spinach. It's so much better than just canned spinach, and it has a lot of nutrition for your food storage. They also had cauliflower on sale, which I didn't grab. In hindsight, I kind of wish that I had. I'll probably place another order before the month is through, but I will put a link to this month's specials down in the description box if you want to check that out. These are all freeze-dried items, so they all have a 25-year shelf life when they're stored inside of these cans. And they have a shelf life usually of about a year once they're open, so they're a really, really great item to have. And if you didn't know it about freeze-dried food, a lot of people think that when you're eating out of your food storage, you're going to be sacrificing nutrition. But with freeze-dried foods, they actually maintain 97 to 98% of the nutrition of the fresh food. And that's better than any other form of food preservation. That's better than canning. It's better than dehydrating. It's better than anything that you can get. So really, this is where it's at if you want to have some really good nutrition in your food storage. And then back here, I've got some more canned goods. This is just some more of the Vienna sausage bites. I get these from Amazon now. They're actually cheaper now that they're $1.25 at Dollar Tree, but actually through Amazon, I've been getting them for less than $1 a can. So even when they were $1 at Dollar Tree, I should have been getting them on Amazon. But my kids like to snack on these, and I'm also going to play around with using these like you would use hot dogs in some Great Depression type of recipes and see if I can make some meals in a bag with those. And then I got some kidney beans. I got dark red and light red. I got 8 cans of each, which I know is odd. You know, we emptied out our food storage area and we've been reorganizing and getting things all put back. And I was putting some kidney beans on one of the rows of my can rack, my rotating can rack. And I put alternating dark red and light red kidney beans on the same row, because I usually use these when I make chili, and I usually do use half dark and half light. And really, if I'm making anything else, I don't think it really matters if I use the light red or the dark red. So I filled up one row, and because I was using 2 kinds of beans, it didn't use up the full case. It used up, 8 of each. And so I ended up buying 8 more so that I could have 2 full cases down cellar. I don't like having partial cases. So I bought 8 more so I can have 2 full cases of the beans down cellar. So let's talk about beans for just a minute. Now, we do stock a lot of canned beans. We stock a lot of those. We also store regular dry beans, and then we also stock instant beans. And I think that's important in your preps, to have diversity and to give yourself lots of different options for different situations. There's pros and cons to every type of beans that you can store. We store a lot of the canned beans just because that's what I use a lot of in my cooking. And one benefit that these have is that they already are cooked and ready to go. You could eat them right out of the can, and they don't need any water to prepare. They're actually packed in water, whereas both of these would require water and heat and fuel to prepare. And that's something to always consider when you're considering what foods to store. What are the requirements as far as water and as far as fuel and heat to prepare? A lot of people like to store these type of beans, the dry beans, because you can store them for a very long time. But the longer you store them, the harder they are to cook. And beans that have been stored for a very long time are difficult to soften up. But these do take up the least amount of space and store for a very long time. The instant beans are beans that have been cooked and then either dehydrated or freeze dried so that they could cook very quickly. They still require water to cook, but they don't require a lot of time or a lot of fuel to prepare. So I use these when I make meals in a jar, for example, like this taco soup, for instance. If I were to do a backpacking meal, I would put this type of beans in. If you buy something like this is the type of beans that are included in something like this, because you can just add hot water and they will soften up. One benefit to storing this type of dry beans is that you can actually plant these beans. I've done it with pinto beans. You can plant the beans and they'll grow into a bean plant. So not only can you get more beans, but you can also pick them at the green bean stage, harvest them when they're green beans, and you can get a whole lot of green beans and a whole lot of more dry beans just by planting these grocery store beans that you have in your storage. So there's really benefits and drawbacks to all type of beans that you can store, but these are the three type of beans that we do store. And then back here, this is a couple of things that I guess you could say they ended up being freebies. Now this has happened twice to me, really in really close succession. And this is Amazon, and these were subscribe and save items, I think. I can't remember if they were both. This was subscribe and save. I had chicken salad. These are the pouches. I'm not going to open this up right now, but I'll put a picture on the screen. They're the pouches of the already made up. It's supposed to be chicken salad because that's what I had ordered. And it came and it said tuna. And I was like, I didn't order tuna. So I looked and it was supposed to be the chicken. I contacted them and it was pretty easy. They were good about it. They said that was their mistake. Just keep it or donate it. They refunded me my money. So that was great. And we will use the tuna. It's just not what it was supposed to be. Well, then shortly after that, I got another order from Amazon and it was less sodium chicken noodle soup. And I thought, I have never ordered less sodium chicken noodle soup. So I checked my account and it was supposed to be a case of cream of potato soup, which was another ingredient for my cheesy wild rice soup meal in a bag. So contacted them again and they were good about it. Once again, they refunded my money, said keep or donate or whatever the item, which is good that they don't make people go through a hassle for something that's their mistake, because it's not too much of a hassle for me to return. It's pretty close to my home, but having to package things up, and some people don't live close to a UPS center. So it's good that they don't make people go out of their way for something that was their mistake. But this has got to be costing Amazon a lot of money. I mean, this happened twice to me within a very short period of time. How many other times is this happening? But for me, I guess I got a couple of free items for our prepper pantry. So I guess it worked out well for me in the end. So right here, I grabbed a couple of these jars of sauce. Now I made a recipe that I saw online, and it was a crock-pot chicken recipe. Used a jar of this Buffalo Wild Wings Parmesan garlic wing sauce. And it turned out really well, and we really liked it. But this Buffalo Wild Wing sauce is kind of expensive. So when I was looking on Walmart, I noticed that they had a Walmart Great Value version of, it looks like it's supposed to be the same thing. It got mixed reviews on the website, so I decided I'd get one jar of each, and then I can just taste them side by side, and we can make that same recipe with this and see if we like it as well as we did with this one. And if we do, then I'll probably stock up on this one because this was obviously less expensive. And if we don't like it, then I'm not out much because I only got one bottle, and then we'll go back to buying this one. But it was a super quick and easy and tasty chicken pasta recipe, so it's worth stocking up on the ingredients to make it again. And then I did get a whole bunch of breadcrumbs. I got some whole wheat seasoned breadcrumbs, which that has to be the name brand because I haven't found a store brand in the whole wheat seasoned. And then I got some of the Italian style panko, which is the Walmart brand. Now we use breadcrumbs. Obviously you would use it in something like meatloaf and something like tuna or salmon cakes, which could be a really great prepper pantry item to make with some of the canned meats in your prepper pantry. But I also use this to bread things, basically bread chicken usually. And we have a few family members who really like breaded chicken and breaded things like that. So I go through quite a bit of these breadcrumbs. And in organizing the pantry, I used to have my breadcrumbs in one kind of basket all together. And I decided to move them out to a shelf and give them each their own row because I do use so much of it. So I just got enough to fill my whole row of each variety. So I got the Italian style panko and the whole wheat seasoned. I think I got 4 of each, and that should fill up my shelf. And now you see this, you're probably thinking this does not look like a new addition to your preps. And you're kind of right, but it kind of is, because this actually, I have a family member who works in a restaurant and they were getting rid of a bunch of stuff. And so this was an item that he had that he offered up to family members. My family knows that I will take things, you know, that are old or past their dates. I don't even know if this is past its date, but this is molasses, and molasses will basically stay good forever. It's basically almost a forever food. And I was just thinking about how I needed to buy a gallon of molasses. So this was really such a blessing to have this basically come to me for free. So I was really happy to receive this. And like I said, take anything you can get for free. If people know that you are open to that, you'd be surprised at how many things people might offer up to you, and it can really help you to build your preps without spending a lot of money. And molasses actually has quite a bit of health benefits as a sweetener. It's got a lot of minerals in it. As sweeteners go, it's pretty healthy. I mean, I use it in things like molasses cookies, gingerbread. I have an applesauce gingerbread that my kids love. We also use this in switchel when we make switchel, and it can be used in a lot of things like that, and it can actually be used as kind of a medicinal kind of item. So it's definitely a good thing to have in your prepper pantry, and like I said, it would last just about forever. And then I got this pack of Red Hots. Now, I just recently bought the same pack of Red Hots. You might remember if you watch all my hauls, but I've actually used quite a bit of them. So I decided to buy more so I wouldn't run out. Now these, I would mostly use these either for baking recipes. Sometimes they used as decorations on cookies for Christmas or Valentine's Day. But what I've used a lot of them for recently is different canning and pickling recipes. I made some Red Hot cinnamon watermelon rind pickles. I made some Red Hot cinnamon applesauce. I made some cinnamon apples, which I wasn't really happy with the way that they came out, so I'm going to try a little bit different method because they got a little bit too soft for me. But I've used quite a bit of the ones that I already bought, so I did buy another set. Now you can buy these in bulk bags and things like that, but everywhere I've looked, this ended up being the cheapest way to buy them, just to buy this 12 pack of the regular candy boxes. And then I just empty them into like a half-gallon mason jar and store them like that. And then the last couple things that I have back here are just some hot drink mixes. This one is the spice cider, but it's the sugar-free. I have had a really hard time finding the sugar-free in my area. Some people have said Dollar Tree. I've never seen the sugar-free one at my Dollar Tree. I see the regular ones, and I get those for the kids, but I like to have the sugar-free. And I do like to drink this at this time of the year. I always like to have a hot drink, and so the sugar-free spice cider, this is easy, but I've only found it on Amazon, and it can be pretty expensive. So this was the cheapest way to buy a case. 12 boxes, and it ended up being a pretty reasonable price per box. If you buy it in smaller amounts, it can be really ridiculous per box. And then I did grab 2 of these 50 packs of hot cocoa mix. This was from Amazon. Now this ended up being really cheap, pretty inexpensive. It was cheaper even than buying these same packages at my warehouse club, because that's where I sometimes get them. So I don't know if it was a sale or that's just their regular price. Now I know it would be a little bit cheaper to buy the cocoa mix in a canister and just measure it out for every cup, and we do have some cocoa mixes in canisters, but we just tend to always reach for these packages. It's easy, it's fast. I don't have to worry about anybody using too much or too little. And we just use the Keurig machine to dump out 8 ounces of hot water into the cup, and it's perfect. So I did get 2 of these because, like I said, it was a really good deal, and I actually have one more coming. That's how good of a deal this was. So, and then I also did get a couple of these giant jugs of Suavitel Complete Fabric Softener. I only put one up here because they're pretty big and bulky, but I did get 2 because this was a deal item. This was an Ibotta deal, and I used a couple of other rebate apps. Now you have to be careful with those. Sometimes they have verbiage where they say, you know, don't use them with other deals, but I didn't see verbiage like that on this deal. So these are the really big bottles, 135 loads. They were $11.97 a piece, and I got 2 of them because one of the rebates you had to buy 2. So Ibotta gave me back $3 for each one, so that was $6 back. And then Swagbox had a deal to get $5 back if you bought 2. So that was why I got the 2. And then I also got $2.20 back from Shopkick for one of the bottles. So that ended up making them $10.74 for both bottles, which was cheaper than the price of one bottle, the regular price. And so they ended up being $5.37 a piece. So it's not like the most amazing deal ever, but it was a good deal, and I really like the Suavitel Complete. We use a lot of fabric softener, and this will last forever down cellar, because if you watch my hauls regularly, you know that my last haul, I think it was, I got something ridiculous like 5 bottles of the store brand fabric softener, but we do use a lot of fabric softener, so this will definitely go to good use. And I do like to keep at least 6 months, if not more, of all these type of cleaning products and household products on hand at all times. Okay guys, that's everything that we've added to our preps lately. I just want to thank you for clicking on our video and taking a little bit of time out of your day to spend with us. We appreciate it so much. Like always, I've got links down in the description box to most of the things that I've talked about today. If there's something I missed, just drop me a comment and I'll make sure to get that for you. We also have a section with links to help you with all your prepping needs. You know how it works. If you use one of our links, it helps out the channel, but it doesn't cost you any extra. In fact, sometimes we've even got a coupon code for you down there, or just a little extra discount that you get by clicking on our link. Definitely check out Jace Medical down below if you need help with your emergency antibiotic supply. We've got links to solar generators and a lot of other things that might come in handy in the coming weeks and months. Get prepared and stay vigilant, but don't forget to enjoy every day and live your life to the fullest. I'm Jara with Wicked Prepared. Survive today, thrive tomorrow. We'll see you next time.